4 months ago, Femke Bol, the 2-time 400 meter hurdle world champion, indoor 400 meter world record holder, and the second fastest 400 meter hurdler ever in history, only behind the unslayable demon Sydney McLaughlin, announced her decision to dabble in a new challenge for the 2026 season, just as a tester, the 800 meters. And after her indoor debut, I'm telling you right now, she is going to be a global medal threat this year.
Surely she's going to go a long way under 2 minutes, but how far here from Bol? I think we can say this has been a wonderful debut.
But before we delve into why, which I promise there is a multitude of reasons, let's talk about the race. The pace lights were set to an unreasonably aggressive 1:57, a very optimistic pace that the organisers had targeted specifically for Bol since the rest of her competition were all 2-minute flat runners. And even her coach, only days before this meet, had stated she is unlikely to run under 2 minutes in her first race, when asked about the world indoor qualifying standard. Yet here we are, the first 200 meters completed at this blistering pace, 27 seconds in the most disgustingly relaxed, effortless stride you'll ever see in an 800 meter race. Her cadence, half the speed of the competition around her. And frankly, that really just sums up the whole race. A baffling display of how mechanically easy an 800 meter looked for her. She had near zero movement in her upper body or arms, signaling the effort of a jog, and her stride length was double the length of everyone else's. But while that's what we could gather from the eye test, the split numbers tell us an entirely different story about her fitness. Each consecutive 200 meter lap getting a little bit slower than the last, 29.7 seconds in her second split and 32 seconds in her third, before comically bouncing her way home, punching a slight sprint finish to the line in 1 minute 59.07 seconds.
Been a wonderful debut, 1:59.05, job done.
But don't let how easy it looked fool you. Yeah, she looked half asleep for the majority of the race, but she was still on the ground after this, racking her chest for oxygen, which proves at least she's still a little bit human. Now, let's get the facts straight. This time of 1:59 is the 5th fastest indoor time in the world this year. For now. It's also an outright Dutch indoor 800 meter record. And it's an automatic qualifying time to the 2026 World Indoor Championships. All of these from her debut race after 4 months of training for the event. How ridiculous. And pair that with how easy it looked, clearly how the only thing holding her back was her fitness, which when we're talking middle distance is the easiest aspect to train. Those facts alone should automatically ring some alarm bells. But I get it, you're watching a Jumpman video, that's not convincing enough for you. So let's dive a little deeper, shall we? Here is a very short list of elite female 400 meter hurdlers who have ran the 800 meter at an elite or near elite level. Already, on her first attempt, Bol is now the fastest of this select few. But here is where it gets exciting. Extending this chart, you can see the ratio of how fast each athlete ran their 800 meter compared to their 400 meter hurdle best. 118.7% being the best, meaning this athlete was trained well aerobically, and 133.2% being at the very bottom end, signifying that athlete probably needed more work aerobically. Now, can you guess what Femke Bol's ratio was? 133.7%. She is the fastest on this list with the lowest aerobic capacity. And that makes perfect sense. She is 4 months into training her fitness for this event. This is the very beginning, and a scary look into what she might possibly run later on. But now that we have these numbers, from a very small pool of athletes, you should keep in mind, we can have some fun with some semi-realistic estimates of how fast she could run. With a ratio of 130%, still at the lower end mind you, she could run a 1:57 800 meter, which for the bad end is mightily impressive. At 125%, the medium upper end, she could run a 1:54.5. That would be the indoor world record by over an entire second. And all the way at the extreme end, which is extremely likely to be an unrealistic number since it was only achieved by one athlete, at 118.7%, she would run 1:51.42. Now that is just stupid. So basically, she'd be running 2 seconds faster than an already impossible outdoor world record indoors. Theoretically, of course. Yeah, okay, so that's never going to happen. But it does give us a small sliver of concrete evidence of what Bol could do even with just a few percentages of more fitness. which is why I was saying she could really make a mark on the 800 meter scene. And personally, I think lowering her ratio to 125%, which again would equal around a 154, is extremely achievable. Considering her strength as a 400 meter athlete has never been her speed, it's been her endurance, which until maybe now has never even gotten the attention it deserved. Something that's always irked me watching Bol run is her talent seemed better suited to a less sprint focused event, which is crazy to say about a sprint world record holder. But the best example I have is every single time Femke Bol races her Dutch teammate Lieke Klaver. Klaver herself is a multiple world champion medalist, and via being pulled by Bol is also the 11th fastest indoor 400 meter runner ever. Basically, she's world class, but just not that same level as Bol. Yet when we cut the distances down and turn them into short sprints, 200 meters and 150 meters being the examples, Klaver has never lost to Bol. 8 races, Klaver has all 8 wins, and between the years of 2021 and 2025, Bol's peak years. And Klaver is nowhere near as fast as Sydney. So no matter how good Bol's endurance was, based off her raw speed, she was never going to catch Sydney anyway. But that's just the number talk. It's clear as day looking at her mechanics. Even in shorter sprints, she runs with such a relaxed and fluid stride, into a 2022 high, my PR. God, that hurts. And although I'm no expert opinion, compared to her other 400 meter competition, she just runs like a middle distance runner. Less arm action, plus a fluid and less aggressive stride, which results in world record runs looking significantly more effortless than the woman chasing behind her. And although the dual 400-800 meter athlete is an art form that is almost completely lost to the past, looking back at the greatest to ever do it, Alberto Juan Terena, who won gold at the 1976 Olympics in both events, their strides are strikingly similar, to a disturbing degree really. Juan Terena having one of the largest, most effortless and fluid strides we've ever seen in the sport, and Bol, damn near the same. Of course though, this is all just fun theoretical nonsense, but I know many of you are just as hyped after this race. So let me know, what do you think? Personally, I'm betting on a world medal this year at the Ultimate Champs, outdoors that is. Indoors might be a bit early, but I do think she'll be pushed to something fast at World Indoors. Also, Bol's next race is February 19th, a 600 meter, so mark that down on the calendar. And I promise, there's another video coming in a couple days rounding up the week. See you next time.